Good day and welcome back to another DB Legends video. In this video we're going to be taking a look at my build for Super Saiyan God SS Vegito and basically what unit or what equipment I use along with how I use them in PvP. Now it's important to understand that he is an Ultra unit, he's also the latest Ultra unit, so he is a little bit broken right now and he looks pretty ridiculous. Now the thing is, obviously there are ways to work around how he plays, there are ways to counter him, and that's of course part of the game. Hopefully they will bring out units that will counter him. But at this moment in time he does seem very strong with very minimal weaknesses. But he does have them. So let's discuss him as a unit and see how everything goes. Now in terms of his card effects, there's nothing too crazy. Big ones are obviously his strike, which gives him plus 10% to damage inflicted, and his blast, which restores his own ki by 5. He then also has his special skill, which is the green card, and it restores his own health by 15%, nullifies unfavorable element factors, and seals the enemy's rising rush. If you manage to activate this during the course of your enemy's strike, tap, or blast arts conditions, you will also randomly destroy one of their cards, draw a special move arts card next, restore your own ki by 50, and inflict a 100% health restoration debuff to them. In terms of his special move, he has two. Obviously he has his special move, which is the Final Spirit Slash, dealing massive slice damage, plus 30% to special move damage inflicted, and 100% chance to inflict an extreme bleed. And then of course we also have his main ability, or his, like big power ability. Now this is his ultimate arts card, Maximum Impact Rush. Maximum Impact Rush is a very strong ability that basically allows him to destroy all of your opposition's cards, whilst also giving himself negating of the enemy's restore health when reaches 0 effects, and deals AoE damage to the rest of the party, which is pretty crazy. This coupled with his main ability, which allows him to draw it, restoring his ki, his health, cancelling attribute downgrades, and applying a 50% debuff to enemies' cut effects, damage sustained, means that he has some pretty big synergy in terms of damage. Then we have obviously his resonance ability, his leader ability. This is obviously a 30% increase if he's the leader, and 5% per fusion warrior category ally if he is not the leader. And then we also of course have his Z ability, which is for fusion warrior, which is relatively decent and can scale up to being fusion warrior, and future tag, which is also pretty decent with a 5% boost to ultimate damage inflicted. Now his passives are pretty beefy, and we have quite a sizable one, being the blue beacon to quell despair, being 150% damage inflicted, 30% to strike damage, damage reduction of 70%, guaranteed increased arts card draw speed of 1, increased arts card draw speed of 1 for 30 timer counts, -5 to all blast arts costs, nullifies enemies' reduced Dragon Balls effect, nullifies enemies' destroy card effects, and he also seals the enemy's rising rush, as well as reducing the enemy's vanishing gauge to 0%. And this activates from the start of battle. So this makes him a great opener because you literally can reduce their cover change or their vanishing gauge and just immediately rush them with whatever ability you have loaded, which is pretty crazy considering he has blast armor on his strike. Basically means they can't really evade unless they have a unit that instantly restores their vanishing gauge. Then we also have the following effects occur when faced with an enemy. He increases his own ki by 30, inflicts him with a downgrade to their critical rates, and seals their arts card special moves. He also applies the following effects to himself if his own health is 50% or below after being hit by the enemy's attack. He will restore his own ki, nullify unfavorable elements, and increase your Dragon Balls. He has multiple aspects of him that increase the amount of Dragon Balls that you have, and throughout the most part you can do quite a lot. When he does his Rising Rush, for example, it increases his Dragon Balls, gives him 40% to ki recovery, nullifies unfavorable elements, and nullifies health restoration effects. If he defeats an enemy, he gets Vanishing Gauge back. He's just really good. He's just really good. In terms of equipment, some pretty straightforward ones. A lot of them dealing with strike, a lot of them dealing with health, and a lot of them dealing with special move. Most times you want to give him some health because you do want him to survive through combos to activate that health restoration. Alongside as well special damage being pretty good because it enables his AoE ultimate card to do quite a big chunk of damage, which as you can imagine is always going to be really good. And that kind of brings us through his details, so that sums up everything you need to know about him. And let's take a look at him in a little bit of play. Now you can run him on whatever team you want. A lot of people are running him on like pure Saiyans, mixed with a little bit of the Goku Frieza, a bit of a purple boost, bit of a red boost. A lot of people are running him on Fusion Warrior. You've got some decent options there. You can run, for example, like I am, Ultra Goku Rose as your lead on Future. Give himself some good health boosts. You've got the Zenkai Vegito, and Zenkai Vegito, Zenkai Red Vegito is probably his best boost unit. A lot of people are using him. But you can double boost this unit quite easily as well. You have the Zenkai for Trunks and Mai, who also can boost him. So there's some good boost options. Outside of that, in terms of obviously his functional play, it's actually best to open up with him. You'll notice that in this case I didn't open up with him. Usually he's actually a great opener because of the fact that he does nullify the opposition's Vanishing Gauge. So the fact that the opposition basically has to start without the ability to counteract any opening salvo that you do is pretty imperative. Like his big time strike damage that he can do, his big time ultimate damage that he can do, you can pretty much open up with a combo. And because of this, it makes life a lot easier, not to mention that his attack gauge will go up as well. This also means that he can nullify special actions. And as you can see here, opening up with a very good salvo, hitting them with the ultimate main ability, which doesn't take too long, removing their hand, and then basically immediately destroying a unit to open yourself up with more Vanishing Gauge is pretty clutch. He's a pretty strong unit, just across the board. I think Fusion Warrior is in a pretty good place. The Zenkai to the yellow Super Saiyan 3 Gotenks means that you can run the Ultra Vegito a little bit. And I do think Ultra Vegito does help out with covering for this, this Vegito quite a bit. Obviously running Ultra Rose also helps out because you're looking for someone to take out the blue card units. But generally speaking, I find that he's not a not tanky unit. Like he's quite tanky. He has quite a decent amount of health to him, especially with equipment. So you don't tend to struggle too much when it comes down to how good Vegito is as a tank. I think overall you want to give some blast coverage maybe, and I do think Future is a very strong team for him, as well as of course looking at the power of the fusion team for him. But again, Pure Saiyans is also really solid. You've got all those purple options, all those red boost options. You can run them alongside Goku Frieza, and those are probably the two units that have great synergy together. You got one unit that prioritizes you getting the Rising Rush quickly, whilst you also have one unit that negates your opponent's Rising Rush capabilities. And the two of these running together makes a very strong team. The ability to control the Rising Rush factor in PvP is very, very strong. And it's something that a lot of players probably do kind of appreciate to a certain extent. So I would definitely say that looking at all things considered, one might consider that the combination of the two units is very strong. I do think Fusion Warrior is maybe the next best bet, but that's completely up to you as a player, and it's going to depend on what you think is going to be very good for your team and how things are going to go. But I think personally speaking that the combination of the two units of Goku Frieza and of Vegito makes a very strong PvP mix-up, like a very strong PvP duo, just in my perspective. And I would probably prioritize running those two together more so than I would prioritize running something like Rose. I just think they have much greater control of the battlefield. Your opponent has to worry about negating Rising Rush. They have to worry about you getting Rising Rush. You have AoE, destroy cards. Goku Frieza can do some big damage. You've got double typing cover there. So there's a lot. There's a lot of really good stuff. Maybe if you can throw in a good green, on that team to provide blue coverage, then you're starting to really look pretty crazy. But yeah, I would definitely say those are probably the two units that together create a very unenjoyable gaming spectrum for your opposition. As you can see straight away, he's doing very good damage. Obviously, that's to be expected. He's very strong. Ultimate does big damage. He does big damage. He combos well. Every time he destroys an enemy, he's doing, restoring his vanishing gauge. Just a lot that's going on. And realistically speaking, he's just really in control of what's happening at this point in time. So he's a strong unit, that's for sure. I think there's no doubt that he's definitely, for me, the top unit in the game. I think Goku, Frieza are very good, but I think he's definitely the top unit in the game. A very strong unit, and yeah, honestly speaking, it is going to be difficult. I think they'll have to make a very strong blue unit to counteract him. I think that's always how it is. I don't think there's any way you can work around that. I think you're going to have to work, and try and build a unit that can counteract him. I think they did that with the previous Vegito. I think they're going to have to do that with this one. It's just one of those things. But yeah, his team's a lot of fun. I'm enjoying Fusion Warrior actually the most. I just like using both Vegitos together. I think they make a really fun pair. But yeah, he's good. What can I say? He can carry you far. He can carry you to rank 70. He can carry you probably even further if you know what you're doing. He's just a really, really strong unit that's just putting in a lot of good work. So I think, for a while he'll definitely be relevant. Most ultras are still quite relevant. I think maybe blue ultra Vegeta is starting to need a bit of a boost, a plat or this or that, but yeah, most ultras stay relevant for a while. I think his control of the Rising Rush is a big component of his build-up. I think controlling Rising Rush has always been a super core component of PvP. Rising Rush being basically the ability to eliminate a character, especially him who can Rising Rush eliminate a character that has, essentially, basically like nullifying their health restore, everything like that. I think it's very important. And yeah, I mean, you can see, in like stages like this or in events like this, you can see like how much the ultra factor plays a contingency. Him being on Pure Saiyans, Goku Frieza being on Pure Saiyans, Ultra Vegeta being on Pure Saiyans, the purple boost factor, there's a really strong, I want to say, contingency to use the purple boost units and that team. I think it is a strong team. I think it does very well. And yeah, I think it will stay relevant. They're going to need to bring out a strong yellow unit. Good problem is so you can run him with Go Frieza because of the type change. You can run him with Gogeta Blue. And the big thing is although there's two purples, Ultra Vegeta provides so much protection against red units. Like, he provides so much strong coverage against yellow units that it's very difficult for yellow units to play into him. It's not saying that it's impossible, but it's definitely rough. It's rough for them as a unit. It's definitely not something that they want to do. Again, though, at the end of the day, it is what it is. I think for the most part, he's going to be a strong consideration for a long time, especially his ultimate ability, which I think is a very big tide turner. You can see here how it made me have huge ascendancy, and then how the same move being used against me is also going to provide me with issues, and that's just part of the gameplay. Unfortunately, the big factor is always going to be that Rising Rush control, that implementation of those type of mechanics. And for me, the one thing that I will say is Ultra Vegito doesn't have a health restoration. He doesn't have a big ability to come back. He's not got a revival, so you can at least still take him out, and that is something that's important. But at the same time, he's a very strong option. I think for me personally, as a player, I think he's in a good space. He's definitely an ultra, and he's definitely the strongest ultra in the game. But it is what it is. But yeah, that's going to be it from me. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time. Bye.